What's up, everybody? This is my other Turo. I already posted the review, I think, for my Toyota Corolla. This is a 2025 M2 in Vandervoot blue. I'm never gonna say that right. I definitely can't say it with a German accent. I love this color. I prefer Laguna Seca over this color, but I do love this color. This is by far the fastest, quickest, best handling, sportiest, and most expensive car I've ever driven. And I think this thing is a hoot. This is a base. I just got it from Turo, like I said. And that's also why it's dirty, because they didn't really clean it. But it's a base. It has no options or anything on it. But if you just want to drive a car, this is it. It's like it was like 65,000 new. They haven't super depreciated. They're certainly not cheap yet. But I would sell a lot to own one of these, as much as I love my Stinger and my Pajero Evo, or whatever's in the garage in that spot by the time I post this. I would love to own one. It's been an amazing driving experience. There's so many features, so let's take a look around. So starting off with styling, overall, I still like the way the previous generation M2 looks over this one. I love the big wide fenders on the car. I like the front grille. I don't love the big openings right below the front grille on the bottom of the front bumper as much. And I don't love the taillights too much. I really like these wheels. You have 19s in the front, 20s in the back, but they look better when you get this car with silver, or even there's like silver faced black wheels. I think those look better. The black wheels still look good, especially on the Vandervoot blue, but I think it pops with silver wheels, especially these wheel designs. These wheel designs are great. The unfortunate part when it's come to driving this car is the Turo place, unsurprisingly, is cheaping out on tires. These ones in the front are Advanta HPZ02s, and in the rears, those are all seasons. These are A+ Pro Racing in the rears. Those are summer tires in the rear. I looked it up. It's a little more than $400 of tires completely on this car. So I couldn't drive this car as much as I would like to have, but overall styling of this car, I think it looks good overall. It doesn't look great. It did grow on me a little bit. I don't hate it, but I certainly do not love it. So moving on to the powertrain, under the hood we have the famous S58 inline 6 twin turbo that in this car makes 473 horsepower. That's 20 over the 2024. In the manual, well, I don't know why I can't memorize this stuff when I'm making a video. In the manual, the torque is lower. The torque in the manual is 406 foot-pounds, and in the automatic, like this car has, it's 443 foot-pounds. The horsepower remains the same, but according to BMW, the manual transmission cannot handle more torque than that, so they stay down at the 406. And the torque bands are different. In the manual, the torque band is lower and wider. In the automatics, the torque band is a little higher up and a little skinnier, but this is an amazing power plant. It's easily moddable. It makes great power. It's the M inline 6, it's in the M3, the M4, and now the power is in line with those cars in a much smaller package. So this thing really moves. It's like a 3.9 seconds 0 to 60. Like I said, it's the quickest car I've driven. This power plant makes this thing move like crazy. I love this engine right here, just like most people do. So let's go check out the rear. So in the rear end here, we have a hydraulic trunk. It doesn't open electrically. There's the button in the car, the button on your keys, and there's a button actually in the trunk, which I swear some trunks don't have now. And to close it, there's a grab handle here and a grab handle here, so you don't have to touch the paint. The trunk is not huge. You could maybe fit a couple sets of golf clubs. Maybe you could get 2 suitcases and a little bit extra luggage in here. There's a side storage pocket over on the left, which is supposed to hold the tire inflator kit for if you get a flat, because there's no spare in here, but Turo took it out. The company did, probably because they don't want people to steal it, which I get. There's a lot of flowers and stuff in here because they did not clean this car. Like I said, you can see how dirty it is. But down here you have this black diffuser, which looks great against the Vandervoot blue, and these beautiful aggressive black exhaust tips, these quad tips that sound incredible. I think this car sounds really good. But yeah, that's the rear. It's pretty simple. There's not a lot here because this isn't a luxury car as much as it's supposed to be a performance car. So just a simple trunk and trunk area. So let's go move inside. So moving on into the interior from the outside in, we have our driver's side door panel with memory seat settings, unlock, lock, door handle, window controls, etc. This light up panel here with M colors that also is, well, it said it's light up, it's ambient lighting, decent pockets and cup hold storage, and then your trunk release button on the driver's side door, and Harman Kardon sound system. These materials are a little bit cheaper, I think, than you'd expect out of such an expensive car, but considering how much cheaper the base 2 Series is, you're only gonna get so much carryover material. And then you can see the first speaker as we move inside of the Harman Kardon sound system, which sounds incredible. So moving further inside here, on the seat controls, we have side bolstering, then we have lumbar support, and then we have our actual seat position adjustments. We have our auto and headlight controls over here. Moving more towards the center, we have our steering wheel, which everybody that's complained about it's too thick, I did not think that that was gonna be true when I drove it. And yes, the steering wheel is way too thick. But on the steering wheel on the left, we have our cruise control buttons, and we have our volume and infotainment controls on the right. Just above that, above the horn, we have our 2 M mode buttons, as well as our paddle shifters for this great ZF 8-speed transmission. Then behind that, we have stalks, which once again feel a little cheap, but you have your turn signal and high beam stalk, as well as your windshield wiper stalk on the right. Behind that, we have the gauge cluster screen, which is very configurable. If you are going through your different modes, your road, sport, and track modes, the gauge cluster will change to fit that mode and be more aligned with the mode that you're in, with track mode being the most driver's focused, of course. Also in that infotainment screen, you can look at different pages. When you are on the road, you can look at different pages, and those pages will show you gas mileage, directions if you're using in-house navigation, Waze or whatever navigation you're using on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, what settings you're in for suspension, engine, etc., your turbo PSI as well as your engine temperature, your wheel PSI, your current pound-feet of torque and horsepower, and then your G meter, and then whatever is currently playing. You can look through all those screens in your center gauge cluster when you're in the normal mode. Like I said, the gauge cluster is fully electronic, and it changes as you change into the different drive modes. So moving on from there, you have your infotainment system with the home page, which will show Apple CarPlay, plus all of that information we were able to get in the gauge cluster, plus your BMW profile for My BMW, your personal assistant, and you can add widgets. I am going to complain like everybody about the lack of buttons. I'm fine with having to go to music in a screen. I'm fine with navigation being in a screen. There's a lot of widgets in here, which I'm okay with being in the screen, including the M Drift Analyzer. Phone, I'm all right being in the screen. But what I hate is climate control is in the screen as well. And I don't even necessarily mind some of the settings, but fan speed at least should be buttons. There's a real lack of buttons here, but that is unsurprising. When you dig deeper into the infotainment screen, you can go into your setup screen, which is where you can change what mode your engine, chassis, steering, brake, and M traction control are in, and you can set up your configurations for your M modes. For my M1 mode, I have it in everything as sporty as possible, except I have traction control on because of the crappy tires and because it's a Turo car and not my car or a car that I would have less financial responsibility for. But other than that, the infotainment's pretty simple. On the bottom, you do have your temperature controls for for passenger and driver AC, but you also have your heated seat controls is there as well. So moving down, we have these vents with these knobs that I'm not a fan of. We have our volume and our next and previous track buttons, our roadside button, our hazard lights, and then our front and rear defroster. But that's it for buttons that could be in the infotainment or not. Moving below that, we have our wireless charging pad, our cup holders, our USB-A and 12-volt plug-ins. I'm a little surprised in a 2025 $65,000, $70,000 car to see a USB-A and not a USB-C. But moving back from there, we have our traction control, our parking sensor, our auto start stop buttons. You can also control the screen instead of touchscreen with the BMW dial, which has buttons to go to the media, telephone, home, map, and map screens. You use the dial, the back button, and the option button to navigate through that. Then you have your shifter, which I really don't like. You have to put it over to the right once for drive, over again for manual mode, and then you can use it for up and down, and then it's up and to the left for reverse, or just up over to the left for neutral, and then park is on the actual gear changer. What I do like is there's a button next to park that changes how aggressive the transmission shifts, so I like that that's customizable. Then moving back from that, you have your M mode button, which is how you go into road, sport, or track, or look in your owner's manual. You have your setup button, which, as I mentioned, changes your engine, chassis, steering, brake, and traction control settings, and you configure your M1 and 2 modes. Then you have your active exhaust button. Then you have your auto hold button and parking brake, and that is it for the center console, for the center area. Up above, you have an SOS button if you have that plan. You have your sunroof controls if you don't have the carbon package and you have a sunroof. You have your sunroof controls up in the middle, and then your 2 dome lights, and then of course you have visors with mirrors and lights, and your auto dimming rear view mirror that has garage link built in. Moving farther back, you have your center console, which is shallow but decent size and has a USB-C port in there that we're looking for. Over from that, we have the glove box, which just has owner manuals in it. And then finally, these seats. These are not the super tight competition seats that a lot of people like, but I love these leather seats. They, like I said, they have all the controls on the bottom, and then they have adjustable thigh support as well if you got longer legs. So that's all in the front seat. Let's just go quickly check out the back seat. So getting in the back seat is going to be tight, but something really nice here is there is a lever here. You pull it and push the seat forward, and it moves forward for you, moves completely out of the way. The one thing I don't love is it's incredibly slow, and if you could just do it manually, it would not be near as slow. But let's go ahead and get into the back seat here. I'm not going to put the seat back because it's already tight in here. I mean, I'm 5'10". I don't want to find out, to be honest. I'm 5'10". I can already tell just by the passenger seat that I'm not going to like it. Back here is pretty sparse. You have an armrest and a speaker. You got a little center area you can put stuff in. You got 2 climate vents, which is nice, with fan speed control. And then that's really it. That's all you have. There's no center cup holders, just a center pass-through. But that's it back here. I don't see any cup holders, in fact, at all. Yeah, the center pass-through has no cup holders on. So you don't get cup holders if you get crammed in the back seat. Life's already bad enough when you're in the back seat of the M2. Then you don't get cup holders. Certainly not a great place to be. But that is the walk around and tour of the M2. Let's go ahead and take it out for a drive. All right, so now we are out driving, and little confession, this is actually filmed before I do the walkthrough because I needed to get out here. But we are on the beautiful Apache Trail Road out just east of Phoenix and Mesa and Scottsdale on a wonderful drive. I will have a video of taking the M2 out on this road uploaded at some point, so make sure you're subscribed and notified to see that video. But we are out here driving. It's almost hard to even get a grasp on how well this car handles out here, because at least the section we're in, there's a lot of pretty tight corners with huge mountain drop-offs. But from everything I get from this car so far, because we're driving our way back after our turnaround, this car handles well. This car, first of all, is very fucking fast. I know in the world of electric cars now and some insane hypercars that a 3.9-ish 0 to 60 no longer is quick. It's still so fucking quick. I mean, I haven't driven ultra fast cars, right? Like, I've driven, my friend had a Mark 7.5 GTI. I've driven my Charger, which was 485 horsepower. And I've driven my Stinger, which is only 386. And at least the Charger and the Stinger are mid 4-second 0 to 60 times, which is quick. That's still a really quick car. But this at like 3.9, hopefully earlier in the video I said what it actually is insanely quick. The normal person, this will be the fastest car that they ever ride in or drive in. It is currently the fastest car for me, but this car is damn fast. It's great in a straight line, and I'm getting a little more open road here, so we're able to drive a little bit faster through this section. We're gonna get through some slower sections soon, but the section we just got through, I think, is the slowest section in the road. But This car in a straight line is a fucking demon. I can't imagine what the CS is like. I can't imagine what faster cars are like. Because at this point, like I said, this is the fastest that I've driven. Because this car is fucking fast. But when it comes to performance handling, so far the little bit I've gotten to really make it handle out here, the steering is really quick. And, you know, like I said, I've only driven so many cars, so I'm not an expert in steering feel. But I think I understand what people mean when it feels kind of numb. I don't feel my steering. I don't feel anything while I'm steering. It's very quick, it's very precise, but I feel no kind of feedback at all. Which I know BMW really wants to have a lot of the luxury plus the driving experience. But when they used to have the slogan ultimate driving machine, and some of the greatest handling normal cars ever are the M cars, the M3s and 4s and 1M and all those cars. It's kind of a shame when they overlean into luxury and you lose a lot of the feedback. Another thing I don't love in this car when it comes to feel is the drive-by-wire. When I was watching reviews prepping to drive this car, I was like, oh, not drive-by-wire, brake-by-wire. I was like, oh, how bad could brake-by-wire be? It's bad. Once you get used to it, it's fine. But it's bad. I do not like the brake-by-wire. It's certainly a different feel than brake-by-cable, having more mechanical brakes. But it's fine once you get used to it. The other thing that I thought, no way could it be as bad as people say it is the steering wheel being too thick, and my God, is the steering wheel too thick. At the 9 and 3 position where you always have those spokes, it's fine, and when I'm driving spiritedly, that's usually where I'm at, is 9 and 3. But, you know, if you're a 10 and 2er up here, way too fat. If you're a one-hander up top, it's okay. It's not too bad when you're one-handing up top, but it's still pretty bad. It's way too thick. I don't know why they made it so thick. This car, as I pointed out earlier in the review, hopefully, has the leather wheel, but the Alcantara wheel's just as thick. I would probably prefer leather. I'm not an Alcantara guy. Harder to clean, gets older faster, but it's so fat of a wheel, I might prefer Alcantara for a little more grippiness, because at like 10 and 2, I can barely touch my thumbs back to the other side of my hand, and that's just insane to me. So steering wheel I don't love, the brakes I don't love, the acceleration I love. I'm in my M1 mode, which I set to all the sportiest settings except traction control because of the crappy off-brand tires that the Turo rental place put on here. The rears are summer tires and the front are all season, but they're crappy brands. I hope earlier in my review I pointed out what those tires were, but they're not good tires, so I don't want to go too crazy here. But the chassis feels nice and tight through the turns. Everything feels good, even if you don't feel like you're getting a lot of communication and feedback, which I certainly don't. Everything feels precise and tight and handles really well. And, you know, this is coming from just driving a Charger, a Stinger, a GTI, and some normal cars. Unfortunately, my backlog of driving is not super sporty, but still, this is a very good handling car. We are back at... Oh my God, why do I keep wanting to call this Tombstone? This is not Tombstone. We are back at a place that I can't remember off the top of my head now. Tortilla Flat. We're back at Tortilla Flat. So going over the speed humps here, not too bad. The ride, which brings me to ride comfort, I honestly do not notice that much of a difference between the comfort setting in suspension and, like, in my M2 mode, I set it up to be the most comfortable driving experience so I could really feel that. So I have to keep checking my GoPro so I get so nervous. So I could really feel the difference. I don't feel that much difference. I don't think the sport suspension is too rough at all, but I don't think the comfort suspension is necessarily comfortable if you're used to just normal luxury comfort suspension or SUV comfort suspension. This comfort, you still feel a lot of bumps. But overall, I mean, it's a sports car. That's what it's for, right? I mean, even if your definition of sports car is purposely built just for sports and not a normal car, transformed into a sporty car, I would say the 2 Series is a sports car in every trim. And of course, the M2 is the sportiest. And so the suspension's never going to be perfectly comfortable, but I don't think for a comfort mode it's that comfortable. But I don't think for a sport mode, the sport suspension is that uncomfortable, even in Sports Plus. Other things, safety features aren't too intrusive. I think the safety features are good. I like that the lane keep, there's not like lane keep assist, at least that I've found at this point of driving, but there's lane keep warning, which just vibrates your steering wheel some, which I think is nice. In the sporty engine and transmission modes, I like that it revs out pretty high when you're in full automatic mode, and it holds revs for you. I think the shifting, which I'm not doing on this road because I'm terrified of wrecking a car that's not mine on this road, or a press car one day, which I don't want to wreck a press car, but that insurance is different than me handling insurance through Turo. Anyways, but I used them around town on the highway. I used them a little bit when the road was more open in some areas that I drove through. And the shifts, unsurprisingly, with the ZF 8-speed are incredibly quick. The ZF 8-speed is what was in my Charger. It's what Alfa Romeo used in the Giulia and the Stelvio. It's been used in a lot of cars. Obviously what BMW uses for their 8-speed transmission. And it's an insanely good transmission. It's very quick. I like that it's smoother than having a DCT and just about as quick as a DCT. So the transmission is really good when you're paddle shifting. And I like that when you set your own M modes, you can set how aggressive the shifts are, so you can be a little more comfortable with little quicker shifts, with a little slower shifts, or you can be sportier with quicker shifts. I'm a big fan of having the shift paddle tuning. So overall, this has been a great driving experience. I don't have a lot to compare it to. I mean, it certainly handles better than my heavier, bigger four-door Stinger. This certainly doesn't feel like a super light tossable car. I think you do feel the weight a bit, but overall, it's a really fun, sporty driving experience. And if I wish I had more to compare it to, but because I bet bang for a buck, there's not really a lot of competition out here. I mean, I was pretty nervous when I first got this car, and now we're behind a slow driver who's not going to use pullouts. But when I first got in this car, I was so nervous, and then now I'm immediately comfortable driving this car, and it is a blast to drive. I absolutely love it. Whether it's a Turo or a friend or anything, if you can get out and drive an M2, thank God the slow driver moved. I would get out and drive an M2. Here, let's hit it really quick around some of these curves. Oh yeah, she's fast. Oh, and the brakes, as much as I don't like them, the brakes are great. The brakes are fantastic. But yeah, that's my driving review. We gotta wait for the one-lane bridge. That is my driving review. That is my review for the BMW M2. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, especially if you like car content. You like me, hopefully, and you want to see my content first. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. And comment down below what you think of the M2, the state of BMW, M cars, the road I'm driving on. Let me know whatever you're thinking down in the comments down below. I will see you in the next video. Thank you again so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.